I'm about to blow up. Say what? Bitch, I'm about to blow up.
What's happening, guys? Sounds like Super Training Gym, Mark Bell's Powercast, Reebok 1. Here to answer more questions on the Instagram. Here we go. Started off with a banger. What you guys got? Not a question, but thank you. Keep up the good work, guys. Well, thank you. Thank you for watching. What else we got? There's so many questions scrolling through this sucker. Bear with me now. How do you incorporate cardio into your powerlifting regimen, and what kind of macros do you hit? To incorporate cardio, I think there's two basic ways to. Obviously, you can choose a high intensity, which is like sprints, prowler, hills, stuff like that. And the other one is like low intensity or moderate intensity, which is kind of dragging a sled, walking on a hill, slow bike ride, stuff like that. I think both are good, and both are kind of needed for powerlifting, for GPP, general physical preparedness. The fitter you are, the more volume you can handle, and the better you recover workout to workout. Personally, how I incorporate it is 3 to 4 times a week after my main lifts or after my heavy lifting days, I'll hit some sprints. So today actually, I'm going to deadlift. I'm going to do some stiff legs, bench over rows, maybe a little belt squat action at our new belt squat. And then I'm going to go out with the prowler, sprint for 20 to 30 seconds, take about a minute break, repeat, and I'll do about 6 to 8 rounds. I'll do that 3 times a week, like I said, after my bench day and then after my other lower body day. That way, in between my workouts, I'll have almost a full day of recovery. I'll do something light. To incorporate low intensity cardio, I think you can kind of throw it in whenever. You could, Mark himself has woke up every morning and did a long walk. I think another thing is use it as a recovery or active rest day and do it in between your workouts. So if you deadlift Tuesday, you would walk Wednesday, bench Thursday, walk Friday, something like that. The time cap on those, intensity workouts or high intensity workouts should only last like maybe 8 to 15 minutes. Beyond that, you're probably not pushing hard enough for it to be considered high intensity. The low intensity workouts will probably be anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour depending on your fitness level. What else we got? How do you guys feel about the squat every day program, or the Bulgarian as some would call it, for the novice attempting to increase their squat and deadlift numbers? The Bulgarian program has been around for a while. I believe it started as a weightlifting program, Olympic lifting, clean and snatch. It's gotten more popular by guys like Corey Gregory from Muscle Farm, who's been doing a lot of stuff with it. I think it's fine. I think your technique has to be intact. I think you have to control your volume. Your recovery has to be on point. If you're sitting at a desk all day and fitness isn't your main job, it may be very hard to keep up with that. My boy AJ Pappas over at Reebok has been doing it himself, and he's found his squats soaring through the roof. I think it's great for your squat, but you have to know that it is a weightlifting program. So they started with the squat, the clean, the snatch, and then the squat afterwards. So the clean and snatch are concentric only movements. There's no eccentric. The eccentric, the way down of the movement, is what's basically hard on your joints, muscles, and that's what causes soreness. So for the squat, it gets it's walking that line. For the bench, it'll be very hard. And for the deadlift, I find it hard too, because the weight that you're handling in the deadlift is way more than the weight you're handling in a clean or snatch. Say you can, I don't know, because I don't clean or snatch, but say I could, a good snatch I think is around 315 for a guy my body weight, but my deadlift is like 600 plus. So just the poundage itself takes more of a beating if you're trying to squat and deadlift compared to the clean or snatch. I'd say if you want to try it, give it a go. Make sure your recovery, nutrition, hydration's good. But what I've seen with some people that have tried it is that their deadlift may go down. If you're trying to squat every single day, that's a lot of fatigue on your low back, quads, hands, so your deadlift may suffer a little bit for a while. But it's worth a try. This whole thing should be fun. So if it's fun for you, do it. If you want to squat every day, do it. Who am I to say? My favorite song to hit a PR on? Music's a huge part of my life and a huge part of lifting. I don't have a particular song right now, but a lot of artists, The Game, Lil Wayne plays some bangers. Some old school AC/DC will get me fired up. No particular song at this moment, though, is really getting me fired up. My last big PR was a couple weeks ago at Barbell Brigade, or a week ago, and it was to Dead Silence. So that was a big PR in itself, a no song PR. Thoughts on the cube method? I like the cube method. I've used ideas from Brandon Lilly, who was the inventor of the Cube Method for a long time. Brandon's a smart guy. The Cube Method works. It's a great, simple program. You don't need a lot of equipment for it. Try it. Do you guys even lift? Why is everybody asking me that? Just because I'm not huge doesn't mean I don't lift. I try to lift. I'm not very good at it, but I do my best. How can I make kebabs fit my macros? What are you talking about? I think kebabs are just like meat on a skewer with some peppers. That's pretty easy to fit into almost any type of diet. What type of exercises did you give obese to beast to fix the squat? I was once morbidly obese and have ankle mobility issues like John. Can you please help? Obese to beast is my boy, YouTuber. Check him out. I helped to squat a little bit, but the truth is he helped to squat a lot. He would just videotape himself. He'd send me different things, ask for some tips. I wrote him a little squat and deadlift workout for the last couple weeks, and he basically did it all himself. He does have some ankle mobility issues, so he just started stretching his ankles and calves a little bit extra, some tight hips. He threw on some weightlifting shoes that can help a little bit to kind of hide some of those mobility issues. But basically, I just had him squat a lot. I gave him a couple simple cues with his core. He's kind of overarching here, so I told him to bring his ribs down a little bit, flex his abs, and now he's a squatting machine. I have a pair of gangster wraps, and they're serving me well, but they need a good wash. What's the best way to do this? I think you can wash all Slingshot stuff, and then we typically say like air dry. So wash on like delicate cold, and then air dry that sucker, or even boil it. I've heard people just boil their things like in the kitchen. In an older episode of the podcast, you say, "My kids, what are your top 5 exercises for these kids?" I was training a lot of like high school guys and college athletes for a while. Some rugby players, high-level nationally ranked rugby players, and then some really good basketball kids that I used to coach in basketball, and then I brought them into the weight room. Top 5 exercises. I mean, these guys aren't kids that I was really working with. I have worked with, like freshmen in high school, all the way to like sophomore in college or college kids, and then obviously adults. I train them basically the same. Most of my athletes, I have them box squat. You get less sore, builds up the hips, builds up explosive power. I have most of them do some type of deadlift, whether it be for rugby players, I have them sumo and conventional deadlift, all different variations. Basketball players, I typically have them trap bar deadlift. A lot of single leg movements, Bulgarian squats, step ups, stuff like that, just because driving off one leg is obviously important in those sports when you're cutting different directions or running in general. As well as all upper body, bench, tons of chin-ups. A lot of high school kids and younger kids are all slouched, so tons of face pulls, a lot of back movements. Is it better to cut down to a lower body fat and slowly bulk, or do big bulks and then cut cycles, non-enhanced if it matters? I don't know necessarily what's better. I'm no nutritional guru. I have a little bit of nutrition. I study a lot of it, but I'm no master. But I think depending on your goals, it will depend on which way you go. If your goal is to get strong, it might be better to bulk a little bit harder, or maybe longer, maybe years. If your goal is bodybuilding, I can't really say because I'm not a bodybuilder, but I would say you probably want to stay more in range. If your stage weight or whatever is 180 pounds, you probably don't want to go to 250 pounds. But in powerlifting, if that's your goal to just be the strongest you can, maybe it is the route you go. What's my body fat percentage at, and what do my calves measure? I have no clue what my calves measure. They're not big, but they're probably bigger than Omar's. I don't know, maybe 14 inches or some shit. My body fat percentage, never had it tested, no clue. Don't really care, to be honest. I kind of just go by looks. I am trying to lose a little bit of weight, but the exact percentage kind of is meaningless. It's just a number. Would you and Mark eventually have a PDF file of a Jack and Tan routine? I looked for it but couldn't find anything. We don't have anything written out. Mark is in the process of writing a book. That should be out with a bunch of sample workouts. We do write our sample workouts on Twitter or Instagram here and there. We should probably start that up again just to give you an idea. And then all our videos. This channel is going to be all Q&A. But if you check out Mark's channel, Super Training 06 on YouTube, we have tons of different workout footage from not only Mark himself, I'm involved, and then tons of the greats in the strength world. We recently hung out with C.T. Fletcher, Eric Spoto, the best bencher in the history of humankind. We're doing some videos with Ed Cohn coming up. just some amazing lifters, and they really give you some insight into their lifting. That's it for this video, guys. Subscribe if you like it. Give me a like. Give me a share. Thanks, guys.